Welcome to the Front Seat Life podcast. This is Jessica Butts, your host and CEO and creator of Front Seat Life, where I help you be unapologetically who you are in your life, love, and business. Hello, Front Seat Lifers. It is Jessica, your host, and I love this time of year. I love fall. I love the couple of weeks before the holidays. It is the end of November and the week before Thanksgiving. And I love this season for a lot of reasons. One is I'm a super strong J personality type, and us Js love this time of reflection, and we love the schedule that comes along with darker days. I know that sounds so bizarre, and all you Ps think I'm probably insane right now, but most J's that I know, me included, when there's too much unstructured time going on, it's very chaotic for our need to have schedule. And so this time of year, the main reason I love this, I shouldn't say the main reason, one of the main reasons I love this time of year is for that reason, that it feels like there's a schedule, there's time to rest, there's time to get things done. It's not as chaotic as, say, the summertime is. And so the other reason that I love this time of year, and that is where I'm going to spend basically the next many weeks of the podcast until the new year or the end of 2019, is focusing on some of my favorite tools to help you have an excellent year in review, as well as start thinking ahead of where you are going into a new year, which for us is also a new decade going into 2020. And so I am having an upcoming webinar on December 18th, where I'm going to show you exactly what I do for my year in review. And I'm really excited. I'm going to do it in my PJs, and I'm going to be like very transparent and authentic and open with you. You can see me. I will be in my house. I'm going to have all my year in review tools so that you can really see those kinds of tools. So if you want to follow along, make sure you jump over to jessicabutts.com and get on my email list, and we will send you all the details that will be coming up for that. So today's big end of the year topic, again, I've got basically 6 or 7 more end of the year topics and prepping for the new year topics. Today's topic is knowing your rocks. And my dear friend, Lisa Fisher, actually introduced me to the rocks, and I probably should have looked this up before I started this episode of who to give credit to, but there's somebody who came up with this, Stephen Covey, potentially. And the idea is the rocks and the sand, and understanding that what most people allow to happen are the sand fills up our bucket. And the sand are things that do not matter. Yet, most people that I run into are a couple of things. One is they're reactionary. They're not proactive with their calendar. They're not proactive with their time. They're not proactive in how they spend their time. They're reactive. They're constantly behind and running all over the place. And one of those is because they don't know what the rocks are. And the rocks then mean the main things in your life that are important. And so I have 4 main areas that I want to talk to you about today. And the very first area is obviously defining what are your rocks in your life. What are the most important things in your life? So again, I've talked about this before, but if you were to put rocks and sand in a cylinder, so let's just say you fill a glass cylinder with a bunch of sand, and then you try to put the rocks in, they don't fit. If you put the rocks in first and then you fill it with the sand, everything fits. And again, we live in this weirdly reactionary world right now. I just did an episode a couple episodes ago about know and trusting your intuition. And one of those things about trusting your intuition is cutting out some of this noise, cutting out some of the BS, all of the things going on in our world. And hey, I'm a social media marketer too. I mean, I'm out there doing Insta stories, and I've got a podcast, and I'm doing all the stuff. And so I get that it's, a little bit controversial to be talking about this, yet there's people that just get lost for hours and hours and hours in sand, which are Insta stories from a bunch of people that don't matter, or mindless television, or spending time with people that they don't even like or don't even want to spend time with. And part of the problem, hear this, part of the problem is they have not even figured out what their rocks are. So that's step one. What are your rocks, my friends? What are your rocks? I swear, there's a lot of things I want you to do before the end of the year, but if there's one thing you do, I don't know if that's true, because I'm going to have a lot. If there's one thing you do this week, let's do that. I will be with you every week until the end of the year, so let's do that. What is your rock? What are your rocks going into 2020? So, for example, I really think there should only be a few. First and foremost, and this may be controversial for some of you, but first and foremost, you are your number one rock. You are your number one priority. This has been said a million times by a million different people, that if you do not take care of yourself, you cannot be the best mother. You cannot be the best spouse. You cannot be the best entrepreneur. You cannot be the best daughter and sister and friend and all the things that we need to be able to do, or employee, whatever it is. You cannot be the best version of yourself if you are not taking care of yourself. So you have to be your first rock. And I guarantee you that probably 80%, if not more, of the people out there either listening to this or just out in the world don't even make this a rock. And I'm suggesting that it needs to be your number one. And in that, there's a lot of different subtexts. Taking care of your health, eating right, making sure you have time to go grocery shopping and taking care of that. Taking care of your body, that means sleeping. When is your self-care time or your soulfish time? When is your half of your front seat is introverted? When is that time for yourself? When is your you time? So all of those things go into you, and that is your number one rock. Here's some other suggestions of what other things should be, but that's non-negotiable. Number two, if you have one, should be your family, obviously. And I actually think this is two different categories. I think there's time for your partner, whoever that person is, your partner, spouse, lover, whoever that is. And then obviously your children, if you have children. Then it's in no particular order, but anything after this, I think that's probably the logical order is you, your partner, your children. Your spiritual time can go into you time, or that can be something separate about how much time you're giving back. Are you going to church? Those kinds of things. Your business is definitely on there. So whether or not you work for somebody else or you work for yourself, but what is your work time? And then becomes your A-list friends. And I know that sounds awful, but I made a list years and years ago of my A-list friends, my B-list friends, and then anybody who's not in that becomes my D-list friends. And that's just legitimate. We all have people that bring us joy, that bring us excitement, that bring us love, that bring us all the inspiration, connection, intimacy. Like those are the friends. And I have realized in the last few years, those people have changed for me. And I'm not going to lie, it's actually been pretty painful. I am a crazy loyal person, like off the charts loyal person. I stay too long in friendships and relationships oftentimes. Again, it's all part of the experience, so I don't regret it, but I'm a loyal person. Even sometimes when I'm getting my ass kicked, I'll stay because I don't know why. I'm working on it. I stay, I give, I want to receive, I want to be connected, I want to be in it. And oftentimes that has proven to hurt me. And the last couple of years has been very eye-opening in terms of just allowing it to be what it is and allowing people to leave my life if they need to leave my life, or vice versa. I may need to leave other people's lives to make room for other things in my life. And so your A-list friends from college may not be your A-list friends now. I have a whole new world of entrepreneurial friends that really, really, really get me and bring a lot to my life right now. I have a lot of friends from a lot of different areas of my life, but they bring different things. And you've got to give them priority based on your time. And then the last thing I would add on this point number one is your rocks would be anything that's in your front seat. So I wrote front seat stuff in my notes, front seat stuff, whatever that front seat stuff is for you. So for me, that is connecting to people that that I care about, that care about me. I care about them. Very, very connected relationship building time, and then introverted intuitive time for me to think. I go on trips by myself. I'm getting ready to go to a solo trip to Maui. That to me is non-negotiable. All of these things on this list are non-negotiable for me. My time by myself, me time, my partner, my business, all areas of my business, my team, my staff, all of those people are in that, and my best friends, and then all of my front seat stuff. Those are my rocks. So here's the deal with this. This is going to feel uncomfortable when you start doing it. If you've never done this before, you're going to be real uncomfortable the first time it comes up. So I'm going to give you a story, and some of you might judge me, but so be it. Fridays are my day off. It's me day. It's me time, my time. I do what I need to do. I work my butt off. Monday through Thursday. Fridays are my time by myself, and the weekends are for my partner. And I had a friend reach out and say, hey, do you have time to get together on Friday? And I pulled up my calendar, knowing that that's my day. And I had a blank day. And I had a moment where I got to choose. She's a good friend, but I would not say an A-list friend at this time in life. And I said to myself, okay, I have a choice to make. And I thought, if I'm going to honor my calendar, if I'm going to honor my integrity as somebody who's going to talk about this on an upcoming podcast, somebody who believes in honoring my calendar and honoring my rocks, I'm going to say no. And so I did. And lo and behold, some other time opened up on Saturday because my partner needs to finish a project at work, and I all of a sudden have a free afternoon on Saturday. So we're going to get together on Saturday instead. And I would have likely kicked myself, been mad at myself, been running around all over the place, pissed off. And again, it's not that I don't care about her deeply. I do. It's just that is not a rock in my life. So that brings me to point number 2. Once you've defined your rocks, I want you to put them in your frigging calendar. Schedule that shit. Schedule it. Put it in your calendar. My calendar is my life. I don't do anything without checking it first, and what is on there is honored. Stephanie, my assistant, she knows this too. She does not ever put something on my calendar without checking with me first, because she knows that even if it's blank, or I will have a whole day that just says off, or I need a day, or pizza and Netflix, or whatever, she knows that that is not wasted time. It is needed time as part of my rocks. So the point 2 is put it on your calendar. And then number 3 is you've got to learn how to honor your calendar. So for those of you that this is new to, it's going to feel very, very uncomfortable when the PTA mom or the B list or D list friend or a networker or somebody, DMs you and asks for, an hour of your time, or someone asks you to go to lunch and you've decided, I don't go to lunch anymore because I don't commute. I made that decision like 4 years ago. And honoring not going to lunch with people has literally, and it's changed my life. I just don't do it anymore. There is no room in my schedule to go do like things like that. Things are scheduled for a reason. So I encourage you to not only figure out your rocks, schedule it, but then honor it. Honor your calendar. Be able to sit by yourself alone and do nothing, or go for a walk by yourself. Free time does not mean fill it with shit. I just don't get that. I don't get it. I don't understand having a free day and being like, oh my God, I'm just going to fill it with 47,000 things. That to me is crazy town. And it's also not honoring one of my main rocks, which is taking downtime. So you got to get clear. I mean, I feel like I'm really, really speaking to people right now that don't do this, that don't even know what their target is. And I'm going to spend the rest of the year talking about this, about what is your target. If you never know what your target is financially, with your weight loss, with your money situation, with your how many clients that you want, with your friends, with your time. If you don't have a target, I guarantee you're never going to hit it. Period, end of story, because you don't even know what you're reaching for. And so if you don't know what the rocks are, I bet your time is filled with a whole bunch of bullshit. A whole bunch of bullshit. This will change your life. And that brings me to the last point today. Number 4, I encourage you to make space for your future. I stole that from my friend Sarah Dean, who I think stole it from her coach, Rachel Rogers. I'm sure Rachel stole it from somebody else. How do you need to make space for your future? What are you holding on to that it is time to let go of? We are not only going into a new year, we are going into a new decade. What do you need to release in order to make space for your future? Is it a dead-end relationship? Is it a group of friends that all they do is gossip? Is it a part of your business that you know you need to release in order to make space for your future? Is it weight? Is it toxic thinking? Is it that you need to finally get a hold of your finances? What is it that you need to get in check? Figure it out. What are you holding on to that it is time to let go of? Because if I know anything, I know, because I've literally experienced this, and I'm guessing you have too, that when I release something out of the cylinder of my energy field releases something new and wonderful comes in. And it blows me away every single time. I shared this, I think, just a couple weeks ago about the relationship that I'm in. It's probably, quite honestly, the best relationship I've ever been in. It's the healthiest. It's wonderful. And I believe wholeheartedly that it came into my life when I was ready, because I had just released, like 6 weeks before, released a whole bunch of things in my life that were no longer serving me. I had literally made space for him, unknowing that he was on his way to me. That's crazy to me. So what do you need to let go of to make space for your future? I encourage you this week, again, because I'm going to challenge you for the rest of the year. I hope you will tune in for the rest of the year and then buckle up because, dude, 2020 is going to be on it too. So I'm ending this year really, really strong with some amazing episodes to help you finish your year strong and then absolutely kill it going into a brand new decade. So that's the homework. I would love to see some of these go over to iTunes, please. I would love it. Go pop over to iTunes and give me a review over there and let me know what some of your rocks are. And on that note, I will see you next week, the day after Thanksgiving. It's crazy that it's already this time. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to decorate this Sunday. I'm getting ready to go to Maui, and I usually decorate the day after Thanksgiving, but I don't want to not have some time with my tree. So I'm going to watch the Hawks game, go Hawks, on Sunday while I decorate my tree. So I hope everybody has an amazing weekend, and I will catch you next week. Thank you so much for listening. From the bottom of my heart, truly, thank you so much for listening. I know that you have a ton of options, and the fact that you are taking time to listen to the Front Seat Life podcast means absolutely everything to me. If you're interested in learning more about the Front Seat Life way of life in the community, there's a couple ways that you can do that. First is always starting with your personality assessment tool. It's available on my website at jessicabutts.com. It's totally free, and it will help you figure out your personality type so you'll have some idea of what we're talking about. Next is, if you're interested in hiring me for a keynote or some coaching or strategy days or the fabulous and amazing Front Seat Life community, you can find out all about all of that at jessicabutts.com. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you next time.